Throughout history, Jesus of Nazareth has been one of the most influential and mysterious figures. Yet, much of what we think we know about him is shaped not only by history, but also by centuries of tradition, culture, and art. The Gospels give us glimpses of his life, his birth in Bethlehem, the teachings he shared, and the miracles he performed. But historians point out that the exact details are often unclear. For instance, the timing of his birth is debated. December 25th is symbolic, linked to Roman festivals rather than a verified historical date. Even his appearance is a mystery. The familiar images of a fair-skinned, blue-eyed Jesus are influenced by European art, created hundreds of years later. In reality, he was likely a Middle Eastern man with dark skin, dark hair, and typical features of his region. This mix of history, culture, and faith has created the image of Jesus that we know today. So in this video, we will explore the hidden truths about Jesus. From the real story of his birth to his life, teachings, and the historical person behind the legend. Many believe that Jesus was born on December 25th, celebrated worldwide as Christmas, but the Bible itself never mentions this exact date. In fact, early Christians did not celebrate the birth of Jesus at all. Their focus was on his life, teachings, and resurrection. The choice of December 25th came centuries later. Historians suggest that it aligned with the Roman festival of Saturnalia, a winter celebration of light and renewal. By setting Christmas on this date, the early church gave a Christian meaning to a popular pagan festival. Jewish tradition also points to spring as a more likely season for Jesus' birth, because shepherds were said to be in the fields with their flocks. This would have been unusual in the cold winters of Bethlehem. So, while December 25th is cherished as the day of Christ's birth, historically, it is more symbolic than certain. Most people imagine Jesus as a fair-skinned, blue-eyed man, thanks to countless paintings and statues in Europe over the centuries. But historical and archaeological research tells a different story. Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jew, born in the region of Galilee, in a small town called Nazareth. He would have had the typical features of the people in that area: olive-toned skin, dark hair, and dark eyes. His height and build would have matched the average of his time, likely shorter and leaner than the figures depicted in Western art. The images we see today were influenced by European culture and artistic preferences, not historical evidence. Understanding his true appearance helps us connect more authentically with the historical figure behind the stories, beyond the stylized depictions that have shaped our imagination for centuries. Jesus' life and teachings have fascinated people for centuries. He began his public ministry around the age of 30, traveling through towns and villages in Galilee and Judea. He spoke about love, compassion, forgiveness, and justice, ideas that challenged both the religious and social norms of his time. He used parables, simple stories with deep spiritual meanings, to communicate complex truths in ways that were memorable and relatable. His teachings emphasized caring for the poor, helping the marginalized, and seeking a personal relationship with God. Historical accounts also note that he gained a following of disciples who would later continue his mission after his death. By examining both the gospel narratives and historical sources, we can see how his message spread rapidly, leaving a lasting influence that shaped the course of Western civilization. Even today, his lessons remain relevant, inspiring millions around the world to reflect on morality, faith, and the meaning of life. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus is described performing numerous miracles, acts that astonished those around him. He healed the sick, gave sight to the blind, and even raised the dead, demonstrating compassion and divine authority. These miracles were not just acts of power. They carried symbolic meanings, teaching lessons about faith, love, and hope. For example, feeding thousands with just a few loaves and fish illustrates generosity and trust, while calming storms shows the power of inner peace and faith. Witnesses of these events spread the stories, helping to establish his reputation as a teacher, healer, and spiritual guide. Historians debate the historical accuracy of some accounts, but the impact of these stories on early Christian communities is undeniable. Whether viewed as literal events or as deeply symbolic teachings, Jesus' miracles left a profound mark, inspiring followers then and now to live lives rooted in compassion and moral purpose. The crucifixion of Jesus is one of the most debated and meaningful events in religious history. In Christianity, it is seen as the ultimate sacrifice, Jesus giving his life to save humanity from sin. The Gospels describe how he was arrested, tried, and executed by Roman authorities, urged on by religious leaders of the time. In Judaism, however, Jesus is not considered the Messiah, and his death is viewed simply as the execution of a man who challenged existing traditions. But Islam presents an entirely different perspective. According to the Quran, Jesus was not crucified at all. Instead, it says that God protected him and raised him to heaven, while another person, made to resemble him, was crucified in his place. This striking difference shows how one event can be interpreted in vastly different ways across faiths. For Christians, the cross symbolizes redemption. For Muslims, Jesus' escape signifies divine protection. And for historians, the crucifixion remains both a historical puzzle and a moment that changed the course of world religion. 2,000 years after his time on earth, the influence of Jesus remains as powerful as ever. For Christians, he is not only the Son of God, but also a personal guide, a savior, and a source of daily inspiration. His words about love, forgiveness, and mercy continue to shape lives, families, and even entire nations. But the impact of Jesus goes far beyond the church. His teachings have influenced laws, ethics, art, literature, and even movements for social justice across the world. Even in Islam, where he is known as Isa, he is deeply respected as a prophet and the Messiah who will return at the end of times. And for many people who are not religious, Jesus is still seen as a symbol of compassion, humility, and moral courage. Whether through prayer, culture, or philosophy, the presence of Jesus can be felt everywhere, from grand cathedrals to small acts of kindness in everyday life. His story is not only about the past, it continues to shape the present, and it will surely influence generations to come.